What else? Oh, I also want to talk a little bit about the last radio that I did. Was Sports Radio 1450. I got asked in a couple of weeks ago to do the press box. Kevin O'Day was out of town, and I got asked in to do the press box with Steve Bridge a couple of Thursdays ago, and I was really excited. I was pretty jacked up to get in there and do that. I've been trying to get on 1450 for a long time. I do the fantasy football show with my good friend Mark Graham, who's here in the chat room, our other buddy Adam Stark, and a guy Nicorelli, and we do that show during the football season. But I'm trying to get on in a more paying me money capacity, you know what I mean, a more regular kind of a thing. And so they brought me in to sit in for Kevin O'Day to do one of the press boxes with Steve Bridge, and I really enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. And Elwood in the chat room says he made some YouTubes of that, and I got to check out a little bit of those, and I appreciate them, and I will try to get that up on the web page as soon as possible. But I want to talk a little bit about my experience in there, because if any of you listened to that, I kind of want to discuss how that went. I'm really grateful that they asked me to come in and do that, and I really did have fun. I love doing a radio, but it was kind of it was kind of out of my element a little bit. It's hard to explain. The show wasn't really the kind of show that I normally would do. It was more of just a commentary and just talk about some matchups, and we talked a lot about the Western Kentucky-Illinois first-round matchup, and I don't know anything about Western Kentucky, so I kind of just had to roll with it. I wasn't 100% prepared. I guess I probably could have prepared myself a little bit more. I was kind of short on time, and I was working that day, and I had to get off work early to get in there and do that. And I'm not trying to make excuses. I should have been more prepared, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't the best radio that I've done, and I know I'm my own worst critic, and I think that most people are like that. But just looking back on it, I didn't think that it went poorly. I didn't think that it went bad. I felt that it was kind of, it just wasn't really. I'm more of a topical discussion kind of a guy. I like to just kind of talk about issues and things going on, and break stuff down, and maybe get into some debates or some discussions. But it wasn't really like that. And it is what it is. I mean, that's what those guys do, man. They go to school to do it, and they have the right kind of voice, and that's what they do. They do radio, and I want to do radio, but I want to do different radio. So it's like it was an odd connection, because it was kind of like me stepping into their world, and that's not, to be honest with you, I'm just not as good as those guys at that kind of radio. So I felt like I felt like I didn't really belong that well in that environment. But I want to get on 1450. I want to get on with my show, which I know is a lot to ask, because I'm obviously not a guy who's been through the schooling and done everything. And I mean, I've just been doing internet radio for like 4 or 5 years or whatever it is. So I mean, those are my credentials. I want to get my internet show on a real airwaves, and it may happen, it may not, but at least I've grabbed a few people's interest. I feel like that could have gone a little bit better, but it wasn't really the kind of setting that I do. I'm not a play-by-play guy. I'm not a Cubs baseball guy. I'm not a high school sports guy, and that's a big part of the Sports Radio 1450. So, and Elwood says, you did okay, Eric. I would tell you if it sucked. And, I believe that. He totally would. He would totally let me know if I did poorly. And like I said, I didn't feel like it went bad. I don't feel like it was a bad broadcaster. I don't feel like I said anything stupid or wrong besides thinking that Illinois was going to get past the first round. But it wasn't my strongest performance. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I was in there. It was fun enough. I like radio. Hold on up there, buddy. The kids. But I did, Elwood. I threw out IUPUI. I was hoping you were listening. I did mention IUPUI because we were talking about a few years ago when there were like 5 Indiana teams in the tournament, and how now that kind of stuff hasn't really happened. So, but I had fun. I had fun, and I do hope they invite me back. I'll try to be more prepared next time. And and I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm knocking Steve Bridge like he didn't do a good job of running a show. He did what he does. He does his show. He does a good job. He knows what he's doing. He does it all the time. And you know what I mean? I tried to fit in. I tried to fit in and do what I could do. I didn't feel like I really brought myself to that show. So if you were listening to that, that explains it. You know what I mean? Then you kind of know, like, this doesn't even really sound like Eric. Well, I couldn't. I mean, it just wasn't really my. You feel me? You guys know what I'm talking about.